You are listening to the 90 Days Later podcast with Anna Charles, episode 187. Welcome to the 90 Days Later podcast, where we talk about what really happens when you take a break from drinking. And it turns out to be the best thing you've ever done. I'm Anna, coach to high achievers who are done waking up with regret and ready to feel in control around alcohol. If you've ever wondered what your life could look like with less wine and more you're in the right place. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. We are almost in July. My goodness, the year is racing forward. And I thought that would make an interesting topic for us to talk about today, which is the sneaky thought, I should be further along by now. Right, so this episode is going to be your reminder to you that your journey, it is a journey, to drink less is not necessarily a straight line. It is not a timed test or even a finish line sprint, right? It isn't any of those things. So today, again, we're going to talk about that thought, I should be further along by now. Now, I want to say this up front. I still have this thought. Now, not about my drinking anymore. I used to. I have it in other areas of my life too now, about my business, about my business goals or my own personal growth. You know, I'm always working on a particular area in my life. And I might think, oh my gosh, Anna, come on, you should be further along by now. So if this thought is coming up for you, I'm right there alongside you. And I'm going to talk about some stuff today, which are the things that I do. These are the tools that I use to help myself continue making progress and moving forward, even when that thought occurs. Now, I want to first pause on it together. Just I want you to think about that sentence that sounds so harmless. All right, I should be further along by now. It's really, I think, a shame spiral dressed up as motivation, right? We sort of think, oh, maybe that'll make me feel really good and it'll kind of spur me into taking more action. But actually, it just makes us feel really, well, probably underwhelmed, if not ashamed of our perceived lack of progress, then certainly maybe underwhelmed. So here's what we're going to do. First, I want you to just stop arguing with yourself, because what happens is we look at our progress or where we are and we think, should be further along by now. And that's basically saying that my reality doesn't match with where I think my reality should be. So here's a little exercise, and you can do this, pause the podcast, obviously not if you're driving, pause it and go ahead and take this little exercise. I want you to write down, I want you to imagine yourself when you've got to the point where you have your relationship with alcohol where you want it to be, where you take it or leave it drinking, where you never drink again, or whatever it is. You're never triggered by friends saying, come on. And you kind of made it, right? Just go to that place. And I want you to think about yourself, imagine yourself where that relationship is exactly how you want it to be. Now, if that is a real stretch for you, if you're like, really can't get there, then choose me, right? Use me. Imagine that you are me. And anyone who's been listening to my podcast for a while, you know all of the things, right? I used to be practically a daily drinker, multiple glasses a day, didn't know how to stop, couldn't imagine life without French Chablis, you know, all the things. I mean, all the things that came up, drank when I was stressed, drank when I was bored, all the things. And then I went ahead and changed that. I'm in a completely new spot now. So what are all the actions that I took? And you can be really specific on this. I want you to really just write this out, just inquire. So for yourself or for me, if you can't do it for yourself, what are all the actions I took? What were all the things I was willing to feel? All right, think about all those scenarios and when I was out with friends and it was kind of like, you know, what are you going to have now? Come on, you're going to keep the party going. What were all the feelings I was willing to feel in order to get to my new state? What are all the things you think that would have been a struggle before, or the situations that might have been a struggle that are no longer a struggle, right? And how you, your future you would have dealt with it. So I want you to write all the things out, or basically all the ways you would have got to where you would be in the future from where you are now, right? That's step one. Now, step two, I want you to write down all the things you are doing, all the things you are feeling, the feelings you're willing to feel, what you've handled and how you handle all the different scenarios. Right, so for instance, if before the scenario was you need to be willing to feel embarrassed when your friend says, come on, you're being so boring, and I was willing to feel embarrassed, maybe today what you're doing is you're not feeling embarrassed, you're not willing to do that, and you kind of just give in, right? Maybe that's current state. So all the things you would have done to get the result, all the things you're doing. And you're going to see, and I can guarantee those two lists are not going to match. They're not going to match perfectly, because if you were doing all the things that would have created the result you want, you'd have that result that you want, right? It's that straightforward. Therefore, this thought, I should be further along by now, serves absolutely no purpose, right? Because you are exactly where you need to be. You're exactly where you should be. You're exactly, your results are reflective of the actions you have taken to date. But this does not mean you are behind. This is different things, right? It just means you are in progress. It means you are still in the process of doing things. You're in the building, creation process. So let's call it what this is when this thought comes up. I think it's timeline pressure. It's really the belief that by now you should have nailed it, that alcohol should feel irrelevant by now, that cravings should be gone, that this all should just be easier, right? Lots of shoulds there. But here's what I want you to hear. Right, this progress, this is not linear. There is no gold star for fastest transformation. I have some clients who really get to a new identity state fairly quickly, and I have others who take longer, and that's okay. This is not a race, right? Now, the feeling behind this thought, it should be further along by now, is often a signal that your brain is focused on the outcome instead of the process. And I always say, I must say this like 50 times a week with all my client calls, I am much more interested in how they apply the process that I teach than on the end result. Because if we don't, because what tends to happen for something we struggle with is that if we manage to get the result, if we do manage to turn the drink down or whatever, say no, we say, well, it was a fluke. It was because I was ill. It was because Janet wasn't there. It's because it was, it wasn't as sunny. It's all the rest of it, right? We don't actually own our success. Whereas if we follow a process, we say, yeah, I know why I did that. It's because of this, and this. Right. And so I've had clients tell me that if they feel like they're failing, they kind of collapse internally. And this really hit me because, of course, you collapse when the story in your head is, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing this right. Everyone else is ahead. I just should know this by now. And we often, and I see this so often in the work I do, because people say, well, drinking alcohol, I should just be able to do it. It really, you say it's a skill, Anna, but it's not a skill like learning how to, design a car. I should just be able to do this. People around me are able to do this. But again, these are all just stories. They don't help. Now, in my coaching, I don't always celebrate. I certainly don't celebrate perfection. When things go right, yeah, we celebrate the wins, but I really celebrate process. And if you're learning to sit through a craving, if you're learning how to make a drink plan that is doable, and if you're learning to pause, if you're learning to recover from a wobble when things don't feel well, you are not behind. You are just doing the work that works. And when you continue to put all the pieces, all the elements together and continue to back yourself, then you are going to end up with the list that I said right at the top of the podcast, the list of here are all the things that I've done to create this result. And guess what? You will have that result, and you don't need to be further along because you'll be exactly where you want to be. Now let's make this real. Let's pretend you've planned for one drink at a party, but you ended up having 3. And you're going to wake up thinking, that's it. I've undone everything, back to square one. No, right? That's step 1. No, you haven't. You've just gathered new data. You can use that data. What did you learn? Let's say, for instance, your partner offers you wine and you say no, but you feel really wobbly about it. And you're thinking, why is this still so hard? Shouldn't I be stronger by now? I should be able to do this by now. No, right? This is not weakness. This is just we are still in the motion of learning this skill. Or maybe you're at dinner and everyone else is ordering cocktails and you say no, but someone kind of pushes back. Come on, Anna. It just happens all the time. Just one. Come on, don't be so boring. And maybe you feel flustered and frustrated that this still gets to you. It's like, still getting to me. With the subtext being, I should be further along by now, right? But it only gets to you because you care. And you're going through the process. You're actually not avoiding the discomfort. You're building tolerance to that negative emotion in the moment, right? You're not capitulating. You're learning the process. This is the work. So listen, you do not need to be further along. You need to be exactly where you are, with curiosity, with awareness, and with a willingness to try again. So I want you to ask yourself, if you are having this thought, what's working, right? What's not? And what do I need to do today, not someday, today, to get closer to where I want to be? This is all about understanding and assuming and taking on the responsibility for yourself, right? And this is a kind of responsibility when you do this, that you get to set your own pace. You get to say not tonight and mean it. And you learn from the moments where you have the wobbles. So if this thought, I should be further along by now, has been circling for you, I just want you to know you don't need a new strategy. You need a new lens. And that starts by seeing this thought for what it is. Right? And so when I have that thought, ask instead things like, what have I learned lately that I couldn't have learned any faster? That's a good one. Or what version of me is starting to emerge, right? You could imagine yourself as a little chick in the egg, and you're starting to, and you see these videos of the chicks emerge, starting to crack at the shell. You're starting to get through. Where is my growth showing up in how I think? And not just in how I drink, but how I think and how I show up. And sometimes progress will seem minimal. It will sound like, well, I paused, or I noticed, or I changed my mind, or I actually remembered, Anna, what I wanted. Those are all wins. Even if, right, you don't do every evening perfectly. So if you are hearing that thought, I should be further along by now, I want you to know this. You're further along than you think. Ooh. You are showing up. You are thinking differently, and you are doing the work that most people never do. And even on your slower days, right? Even on the slowest days when things just don't seem to be coming into place, you're still lapping up. You're still lapping at the version of you who stayed stuck, right? You're still getting to that place. Because here is the deeper thought to think. That thought, I shouldn't be further along, isn't coming from any kind of truth. It's coming from impatience. So let it be messy. Give yourself time to learn. Rewriting your patterns around drinking takes time, not huge chunks of time, but repeated time. Time to practice, time to feel differently, time for the new patterns to take root. And that's going to take a whole lot longer if your mind keeps whispering that you're behind. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. But if you do want a more straight line towards your goal, then working with me is the way to do it, because I know what you need. I can tell you the exact steps, the exact process, and I will support you all the way along so you will no longer feel alone. That is the quickest way to get your desired result. To do that, go to 90dayslater.co and click on the book a call button, and that will give you access to my calendar, and we will have a chat. We will talk about where you are, where you want to be, and I will on that call map out the exact process to get you there. There will be no confusion left, and you will know exactly what it will take. It's so good. All right, other than that, I will see you next week. If this episode hit home and you're ready to explore what life could look like with alcohol in the back seat, let's talk. I work with people one-on-one who are ready to create the relationship with alcohol that works for them, so they feel powerful in their choices and at peace with their habits. Go to 90dayslater.co and click on book a call, or grab one of the free guides in the show notes to this episode. And if this podcast is helping you, A rating or review goes a long way to help others find this work too.